Hello and welcome back to another Fly with Marco video. Today we're talking about aircraft ownership costs. We'll uncover the true costs and what you can expect to pay. Okay, so before we begin, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps us produce more content. So we're going to talk about the three types of aircraft ownership costs, from the purchase price, the fixed costs and the variable costs. We'll briefly summarise each section and then you'll be able to see the true figures on what you could expect to pay. Okay, so just a little note before we begin. These figures are for an aircraft that I was looking to purchase, and these figures are somewhat true for your kind of bog standard GA certified aircraft and not your permit aircrafts. Okay, so first of all, you've got the initial purchase price, whether this be a share or you're buying the aircraft outright. Of course, this will be an upfront purchase, and essentially when you sell that asset, you'd hope to recover most of it, or maybe even make a slight profit from it because there is an increase in demand for light aircraft. Okay, onto the fixed costs. Now these are probably the most important costs to think about and what a lot of people may be discouraged. So we're going to talk about a couple of things. First of all, insurance. You're going to pay an annual premium for insuring the aircraft that could be maybe somewhere in the region of around £2,000 for your standard GA aircraft. Next, you've got hangarage or rent. So depending on whether you choose to hangar outside or within a nice temperature controlled environment, again that's your choice. And you could choose to hang your aircraft in a farm strip or at an international airport. So again, you'll have a massive range in hangarage costs, ranging from say £100 a month to maybe £1,000 a month. And again, it's about finding the right set of variables that are important to you. Okay, so third on the list are the annual inspection costs. This is essentially an MOT for your airplane. And again, it's really difficult to anticipate these costs because it all depends what the engineers identify in the aircraft. If there's some serious recommendations that must be implemented, then yeah, it's going to cost you an awful lot of money. But if you get a lucky year and there's nothing major, then it could cost you £2,000–3,000. Okay, the last big fixed costs are any finance or loans that you have to repay. Maybe you purchased the aircraft on finance or had to take out a loan to purchase it. Again, you've got to factor in these to your fixed costs. Okay, so to summarise, we've got insurance, we've got hangar costs, we've got the annual inspections, and maybe some finance or loan repayment. As you can see from this screenshot, you'll be paying probably between £9–10,000 before you've even flown the aircraft every single year. So it's really important that you've got a really firm and good understanding of these costs before you choose to buy into an aircraft. Okay, so the final type of costs are the variable costs, and as the name suggests, these costs increase for every hour that you fly the aircraft. Now the biggest variable cost is fuel, without a doubt. No matter what fuel your aircraft takes, if it's 100 LL avgas, and that's currently around £1.50 including VAT per litre. So you've got to work out what your full fuel consumption is. For example, in our aircraft at the moment, Slingsby Firefly, we use an average 30 litres per hour when that's leaned in the cruise. So again, you can work out the maths and see what your hourly fuel cost is. Okay, the next variable cost to think about is the oil itself. Again, a minimal cost, but how much oil does your engine consume? It could only be £1 per hour or even less than that, but it's important that you factor this in. Okay, the third variable cost which I include are the 50-hour checks that you need to get done. And of course this depends on how many hours you fly the aircraft every year. If you don't even fly it 50 hours, then your annual will take care of this. But if you're flying the aircraft 150 hours per year, it's probably a good idea to have two 50-hour checks, and then the third is your annual. And again, it all depends on how many hours you tend to fly the aircraft. Okay, so the last variable cost, and again it's up to you if you want to include this, is funds such as engine funds or propeller funds. Engines and propellers have a certain lifespan to them, so it's really good if you factor the new engine or the new propeller into the actual costings. For example, for every hour you fly the aircraft, you put £10 aside for the new engine, and at least when you need a new engine, you can have the cash in the bank ready to do so. Okay, so they're the four variable costs we've talked about, which are fuel, oil, 50-hour checks, and if you want to put aside any funds for engines or propellers. Now, if we have a look at the screenshot, we'll see that without a doubt fuel is the biggest contributing factor to that. And so it's really important that you know how much fuel your aircraft that you're looking to purchase consumes. Again, just chat to the owner. And you've also got a good idea of, how much it costs to actually fit a new engine and what a propeller would cost too. And, ideally factor that into the cost, because then you won't have to look for that cash when the time comes. Okay, so we talked about the three different types of costs: the purchase price, the fixed costs, and the variable costs. And I've shown you screenshots of what you could expect to pay. Now, if you have a look here at this screenshot, you'll be able to see how that cost varies depending on how many hours you fly per year. Essentially, the more hours that you fly, you can spread the fixed costs over a longer amount of hours, so it actually costs you less. And this is a good idea to actually think about, well, how many hours am I going to fly every year? If it's, say, less than 100, you could think, right, well, probably owning an aircraft outright isn't best for me. It'd be great if I can buddy up with a couple more people. And cumulatively, we can put a lot more hours on the aircraft and achieve that lower cost and spread that across. However, if you can do 200 hours yourself over a year, then maybe owning an aircraft yourself without buying into a share is right for you. So these are the true numbers and what you could expect to pay for a standard GA aircraft. That could be a PA-28 or something like that. Again, it all depends what year it is. The older models tend to have to spend a bit more on the annuals to maintain them. But yeah, these are the real costs, so I hope you find this useful. So there's one final type of cost which I've purposely missed out to illustrate the point: unexpected costs. This could be something that's picked up outside of the annual or outside of the 50-hour check. Maybe it's a fault with the aircraft. It could be something along those lines. For example, we've had the hub has been issued as a recall, and we found out we need a new propeller, which is about £14,000. So you do incur these unexpected costs. So if you've got cash in the bank, for these times when this will crop up, that's great. It's going to hit you at some point, you just don't know when. So having that reserve is really important. Okay, so we had a question from John who said, how much does it cost to actually fly the aircraft? Well, we kind of alluded to the cost in this video by having a look at the variable costs. As we've seen, fuel is the biggest factor. So if you're consuming 30 litres of fuel an hour at £1.50 a litre, again, it's going to cost you about £45 in fuel. Now, there are other costs to think about as well: oil, landing fees. So if you're flying to another airfield, they may charge a fee for you to land. Again, a parking fee may be payable too. So they are the direct costs. However, again, you may want to put a reserve in there that will cover any engine replacements, propeller replacements, and I suppose a bit more just in case the unexpected happens. I hope this video has been useful to you and provided some value. Please subscribe if you have really enjoyed the video. Again, it really helps us produce more content. So thanks very much for listening and enjoy your day.